All right. Stream looks like it's going. Everything looks good. YouTube. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is going over all of the Final Fantasy precons. So if you're someone that's brand new to the game of Magic the Gathering, I'm going to do my best inside this video. This is a live stream, so if there's a specific deck you want to see, you can just click around the video and find what you're looking for. However, what I'm going to do is, instead of going over each card individually, I'm going to go over the cards that are important. And if I see a card that works well for the deck and you should keep inside the deck, you're going to see something like this. If we see a card that you should probably take out of the deck, you're going to see something just like this, so that new players get a really good understanding for what you're looking for, because these are Final Fantasy commander decks. And the reason that's important is because Final Fantasy is something that exists outside of Magic the Gathering, and I know is really special and important to a lot of people. You know, I have the logo to Final Fantasy VIII tattooed on my arm right here. I really enjoy Final Fantasy, so this is something that's extremely special for me, and just a huge shout out to Wizards of the Coast for creating this set, because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people that are brand new to Magic the Gathering to start to play the game because of this set, and a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun. So the first deck that we have here is called the Revival Trance Precon IC. The commander, new players for this deck, is Terra, the Herald of Hope. So let's go ahead and click on this card over here. We get a nice view of the card. Terra reads. She reads, at the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards. Terra gains flying until the end of turn. Whenever Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. When you do, return target creature with the power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So as a new player, what this means is this deck, how do we say, when we say mill 2 cards, essentially what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up taking cards from our library and putting them immediately into our graveyard. And the reason that's advantageous is because when we're playing Magic the Gathering, you start the game with 7 cards inside your hand. So because Terra allows you to get cards out of your graveyard kind of acts like a secondary hand. So when you're dealing damage to players, creatures that exist inside your graveyard can re-enter the battlefield. Now, the reason this could be something that's powerful is because as creatures enter the battlefield, like when we look at the first card over here, Stitcher's Supplier. Stitcher's Supplier says, when this creature enters the battlefield or dies, we get to mill 3 cards. So as this enters, 3 cards from the top of our library, whenever we use the word mill, will just then re-enter the graveyard, which essentially is going to put us in a position where we're putting more cards in our hand, technically, because our hand is our graveyard, if that makes sense. So what we're really looking to do inside a commander deck like this is to abuse the abilities of the cards that we have inside of our deck, so that we can just gain advantage. And what you're going to notice over here, hopefully, when we take a look at more of the cards that we have over here, Bannon says, once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell for among cards in your graveyard that are put there from anywhere other than the battlefield this turn. So as you mill, Bannon's going to give you the ability to cast cards out of your graveyard. Whenever you attack, man, there's a lot of ads on this website. Whenever you attack, you may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So it gives you the ability to put more cards inside your hand, which is nice. We have Gao, Feral Youth. I'd never played Final Fantasy VI, so I'm not too familiar with a lot of these creatures. Some of them I am. I've played enough to be aware of some characters, but not a lot. So it says, whenever Gao attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, at the beginning of each end step, if a card left your graveyard this turn, Gao deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. If you guys see the card disappear, The website keeps reloading advertisements. Like we got an ad for Subway over here. So every time it disappears, it's reloading the ads, just so you're aware. That's a decent card. I mean, it's a 2-power creature. If a card left a graveyard this turn, being able to deal damage to your opponents outside of the combat step is something that's always going to be good in Magic the Gathering. So I think this is a card that you would keep inside the deck. We have a Milkin. Yeah, you totally keep this card. You're just going to tap this card for mana so that you can play cards and you mill a card at the same time. So that's always going to be something that's beneficial to you when you play. Keep that card in the deck. The Priest of Fell Rites, 2 mana. You can tap this to pay 3 light to sacrifice a creature. Then you can sacrifice this creature, so this creature will die. And then you return any creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It has Unearth, so technically you could do this twice. You keep that card inside the deck. It's not too bad. Lock Treasure Hunter. Lock can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Whenever Lock attacks, each player mills a card, so more mill. You're just automatically, when we see that, you're just going to keep the card. If the card says mill inside the Precon, or if we see cards outside of this Precon that you want to upgrade the deck with, if it says mill, add the card. If a land was milled this way, create a treasure token, basically acts as a source of mana that you probably want to use. We have Mog, the Moogle Warrior. At the beginning of each of your end step, each player may discard a card. Each player who discarded a card this way draws a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, you create a 1/2 white Moogle creature token with lifelink. Then if a non-creature card was discarded this way, put a +1/+1 counter on each Moogle you control. So I think, personally, I would take this card out of the deck. It's a way for us to put cards in our graveyard, but not cards in our graveyard off the top of our library. So I would take this card out of the deck and just build a separate deck with it. We have the Morbid Opportunist. Whenever a creature we control dies, draw a card. Keep that card inside the deck. It's always going to be good. When Setzer enters, we're going to create a token. It deals damage. We're going to flip a coin. And if you win the coin flip, create 2 tap treasure tokens. Take that card out of the deck. Shadow, Mysterious Assassin, Death Touch. Whenever Shadow deals damage to a player, you may sacrifice another non-land permanent. If you do, draw 2 cards and each opponent loses life equal to the mana value of the sacrificed permanent. You may sacrifice another and do each opponent loses life equal. Yeah, I mean, that's a decent creature. It has Death Touch, so if your opponents block it, the creatures are most likely going to die. You do have to deal damage to force your opponents to sacrifice something. So personally, I would take this out of the deck, but what you're going to notice when you play this card, it's going to feel strong. And the fact that you have to sacrifice a non-land permanent, we're playing a deck where we're going to be getting cards out of our graveyard and back onto the battlefield. So we may lose something, but generally the thing we lose is also something that we can get back. So it really only hurts our opponents. But I mean, drawing 2 cards, you know what? I'm good on this card. You keep this card inside the deck. It's a fun card. Strago and Realm. Tap this. Target opponent exiles cards on the top of the. Take this card out. I don't even want to read the rest. Terra's in here again for some reason. The Warring Triad. Flying Trample Haste. Tap this to mill a card. Yeah, keep this card inside the deck. That's always going to be good. See, we have Anger over here. This is going to give your creatures haste. This card is fantastic. The moment this card enters your graveyard, whenever your creatures enter the battlefield, they get to attack immediately, and generally that's not the case when you play Magic. We have Celas, the Rune Knight. When he enters, discard a number of cards and draw that many cards +1. Whenever one or more creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put a counter on each. Yeah, bro, that's so good. Keep that card. It's fantastic. Edgar, Master Machinist. Whenever or once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact spell from your graveyard. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters tapped. Okay, so letting you cast more spells from your graveyard, just keep. That's good. Go-Go, Mysterious Mime. At the beginning of combat in your turn, you may have Go-Go become a copy of the target creature. I would take that card out of the deck. Interceptor, Shadow's Hound. Assassins you control have Menace. Whenever you attack with one more legendary creatures, you may pay 3. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Yeah, it's not bad. Palace Jailer. You become the monarch. When this enters, exile target creature an opponent controls until an opponent becomes the monarch. Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these are creatures where you get to remove something. You can do something to put this card back into the graveyard, have it enter again, remove something again. This is... You want to fill the deck with cards that behave like this, where you're constantly destroying your opponent's things. It's or removing your opponent's cards. It's pretty annoying. A Pitiless Plunderer. Yeah, just keep this card inside the deck. This card is always going to be good. Siegfried, Famed Swordsman. When it enters, mill 3 cards. Don't even need to read anything else. You're going to keep that card. Solemn Simulacrum. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Yeah, it's always good. Always keep that card. Summon Esper. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. Exile instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Nah, take this card out of the deck. Archfiend of Depravity. This is not a card that you can get out of the graveyard with your commander, and it seems like you want to be playing a lot of creatures inside this deck. This card's going to force you to sacrifice the creatures that you control. You can get them back with your commander, but I mean, it's a nice card to have in your collection, but I would take it out of the deck. General Leo Christoph. When it enters, you turn up to 1 target creature card. It basically acts like your commander, puts a card back onto the graveyard. Keep. Sabin, Master Monk. Sabin, for those who don't know, actually suplexes a train in Final Fantasy. That's... I don't know what kind of strength you need to have to suplex an entire train. For those of you who are not aware, just be aware. To say that this guy has 4 power, to me, is an actual abomination. This guy needs to have 70 power and 70 toughness. Double strike, you can cast him from your graveyard. He draws you cards. Keep this card. It's good. Combustible Gear Hulk. Yeah. I mean, it's a good card to have. Personally, I would take this card out of the deck. Find something cheaper that works with your commander. Flayer of the Hatebound. This card is going to win you games. When this creature or another creature enters from your graveyard, deals damage equal to its power to any target. Technically, our creatures are going to have low power, so we're not going to be doing too much damage to any target, but it's still something that we can use to control the tempo of the game. Ruin Grinder. When it dies, each player is going to discard their hand and draw 7 cards. I would take it out of the deck. Sun Titan, keep. I'm not even going to go over Sun Titan. Just keep that card inside the deck. It's really good. Umaro Raging Yeti. Oh, what in the world? Beginning of combat, choose 1 at random. Other creatures you control get +3/+0 and gain trample to the end of turn. Discard your hand, draw 4 cards. Deals 5 damage to any target. I would take it out of the deck. It's a cool card, but you know, I'm kind of confused as to why there's a lot of cards here that have a ton of power that we can't get out of the graveyard with our commander. There should be a good amount of reanimation spells or something inside the deck, or ways to get these cards out of the graveyard, because these don't synergize with our commander at all. Angel of Ruins, it's a powerful play. It's a good card. I would keep it though. Cyan, the Vengeful Samurai. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, put a counter on Cyan. Yeah, things like this are always going to be good. He does cost a lot of mana, but We could pay 1 mana for this card depending on the amount of creatures in our graveyard, and we can get him back with our commander. Kefka, Dancing Mad. At the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each opponent's graveyard. It's too much mana. Take this card out. It's a cool card, but take that out. Meteor Golem. See, this is good. It's a 7 mana, so you're really not going to want to play this. You're going to put this card in your graveyard, but when it enters, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. This is probably one of the best cards. It's a horrible card, but in this deck, it's actually really good. You play a card like Panharmonicon to double up the abilities as cards enter the battlefield, and you can destroy 2 permanents as this enters. And if you're doing that multiple times per turn, it could just end the game. Sepulchral Primordial. This doesn't synergize with the commander. You know, when you're looking at this new players, you're really just looking at the power. You know, this is a 5/4. You know, our commander really wants creatures to have 3 power or less. So you really just want to be looking for that. Reanimate, put a creature from graveyard onto the battlefield. Yeah, it's actually a really good card. Night's Whisper, draw, keep, Stitch Together, keep, Bedevil, keep. I would swap this out for a creature that destroys something, as opposed to paying 3 mana for this. But hey, you know, you can do whatever you want. Crackling Doom. This card is if the Precon has the colors red, white, and black, this card will always be inside that deck. It's a good card. Laughing Mad, 3 mana. Discard a card, draw 2 cards. Okay. Legions to Ashes. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls, and all tokens that player controls the same name as that permanent. Yeah, that could be devastating in the right deck. Mortify, you know, all these cards over here, just keep inside the deck. You know, there's really no reason to take them out. Snort. Each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards. I would take that card. I mean, it does have flashback, so you can cast it from your graveyard. That's probably the only reason why I would keep this card, but if it really came down to it, I would take that card out. Tragic Arrogance. Yeah, keep this card. Rejoin the fight, mill 3 cards. Yeah, keep the card. Ruinous Ultimatum. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you're looking at this card is going to win you more games than any of the cards that we just went over. This card just says, destroy non-land permanents to your opponent's control. You just cast it and you just obliterate everything. And then your friends are going to be doing that whenever you cast a card. These 2 cards right here, Ruinous Ultimatum and then the Rise of the Dark Realms, are 2 cards that are just going to flat out win you the game completely. What's up, Albert? What's good, bro? I see you. Thank you, Albert. So we have the next card is a Phoenix Down. Phoenix Down is actually very iconic to Magic the Gathering, man. You can exile a skeleton, spirit, or zombie. Oh, that's actually very flavorful, because when you play Final Fantasy, if you're fighting against a zombie, this happened in Final Fantasy VIII, I think, on the train mission where you're fighting a zombie on the train. You can just use Phoenix Downs on the zombie inside the game, and you just take out the zombie. I wish this card just said return target creature with any mana value from graveyard to the battlefield, because technically in the game you can bring anything back with a Phoenix Down. But it's a Phoenix Down, bro. If you play Final Fantasy, you know it's good. We have Soul Ring. Yeah, it's just good. Keep. Wayfarer's Bauble, keep. Arcane Signet, keep. Key to the City, keep. Yeah, the zombie, the mayor. You know what's good. We got Key to the City. You know, that's always going to be good. Giving creatures unblockable. This card can end games for you guys. Coin of Fate. When it enters Severa 1, exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. Sacrifices artifact, and opponent chooses one of the exiled cards. Put that card on the bottom of the library, return the other you become the. It just seems like a lot. Just play a different card. Swiftfoot Boots, interesting. Keep. Talisman of Conviction, keep. Commander's Fear. You know, when we look at our commander costs 3 mana. On turn 3, you want to play Terra. You don't really want to be casting a Commander's Fear on turn 3. So I would probably take the Commander's Fear out of the deck. I think Commander's Fear works when you're playing a commander that costs 5 mana. Because turn 3, you play Commander's Fear, and then turn 4, when you play your land, you should have enough mana to cast your 5 mana commander. But that's really the only time I would play a 3-cost mana rock. We have the Falcon, Airship Restored. When the Falcon deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, return target creature card from graveyard to the battlefield. I mean, you're not. This is like a one-time thing. Oh no, you can pay 5 mana to return this card from graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And you could do that on your opponent's turn. So technically, you know, I personally would take this card out of the deck. But you do you. If you're a fan of the Falcon, then you keep that card. 37 lands. We're just going to skim through these really quickly. I do see that we have new players. Just, you know, lands are pretty important. They help to play your cards correctly. Clifftop Retreat, cool. Command Tower, okay. Demolition Field, all right. Desolation Mire. Yeah, the lands look fantastic inside this deck so far. It seems like you're going to have all the colors that you need. And that's all you're really going to ask for, because if you can't do that, then you can't play the game. High market, I love. Honestly, this land right here, when you draw into this, get this on the battlefield. This is going to let you sacrifice your creatures. I think this is the only sacrifice outlet that I've noticed inside the deck. You can sacrifice your creatures, and then when you attack with Terra, you can deal damage, pay the mana, and then put a creature back. So that's always going to be something to take advantage of. It's going to be you see, if I click on this, when we see something like this, when you're looking at that sack a creature ability over here, you really want to make sure that when you're building this deck, you want to add a lot more cards that do that same exact thing right there. You want more sacrifice, would be called a sacrifice outlet. New players you can keep in mind. Those are going to be really important into helping you to win games. Rogue's Passage obviously is going to be a card over here. It's going to be good because it gives your creatures unblockable. This card is going to win you games as well. And then as we look at the other lands over here, I mean, we just have a ton of dual lands or cards that tap for multiple colors of mana. Fantastic. You know, what I'm going to say is for new players, for the Terra Precon, it is going to have, there is going to be a bit of nuance. You know, you're going to need to know which cards to bring out of the graveyard back onto the battlefield. There are a lot of cards on here that, unfortunately, I think that they're going to feel like you're not really, I'm thinking about, like, if you're literally brand new to Magic, you've never played before, when you play this deck, it might feel like you're just doing things to do things. What I'm going to recommend is you look at the cards that are inside the deck, find abilities that you enjoy that are power 3 or that you notice are power 3 or less, and then look for other Magic cards that have the same, that do the same thing. So what I would prefer, like something like the Meteor Golem over here. Meteor Golem says when it enters, you get to destroy target non-land permanent. And the reason that's important is because you get to remove your opponent's things. So what I would recommend is just finding cards that behave exactly like this Meteor Golem, and then just fill the deck with them so that every time you have the ability to activate Terra's ability, you know, you're basically always doing the same thing over and over again. Like I don't have to think too much because I always just want to destroy something. You know, your parent, your parents, your opponent, maybe your parents, but your opponents are going to feel like this when you do that. But it's what's going to lend you to give you the ability to just win games if winning is important to you. But I would say on a scale of, would this deck be great for a new player, or would I buy this for a new player? I would not buy this deck for a new player. This deck is definitely going to be more geared towards players that have a lot of experience playing the game. This is the Limit Break Precon. The commander for this deck is Cloud, ex-Soldier. Cloud reads, when Cloud enters, he has haste, first of all, so he can attack immediately, 5 mana, pretty good. When Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Wow, that's already amazing. So if you have an equipment on the battlefield, the moment the Cloud enters the battlefield, you can just immediately equip something to it, which we'll go over new players, so that'll make a little bit more sense in a second. Whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then, if Cloud has 7 power or greater, create 2 create 2 treasure tokens. Yeah, I mean, wow, dude, that's incredible. Cloud is amazing. Okay, so yeah, when we're taking a look at Cloud over here, basically this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna play Cloud. One of the equipments that we're going to go over that I see we have a lot of over here, one of the equipments are immediately going to attach to him. When you attack, which is everybody's going to attack, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to draw a card for each creature that's attacking, which is amazing. And then if Cloud has 7 or more power, you're going to create 2 treasure tokens. Keep in mind, new players, that the treasure tokens you create, you can use to act as mana so that you can play more cards, which is great. And the fact that Cloud has haste means that the moment he enters, you get to do this right away. So what I personally would do when I play this deck is to get a ton of equipment onto the battlefield first, get a ton of creatures, maybe at maximum or at minimum 2 creatures on the battlefield, have them equipped, so that as Cloud enters, he attacks right away. You attack with the other creatures, and now the moment I cast him, I'm drawing 3 cards immediately. And when you play new players, that'll make a lot more sense. But you know, I would just not want to play Cloud and draw 1 card, because this feels like a card that the moment you play it, if your opponents have the mana to destroy Cloud, they need to destroy Cloud. Like, they need to remove him. Otherwise, they're going to feel like this. So just keep in mind that you want to be careful at the times that you play Cloud, because he provides so much advantage that and if you're playing against Cloud, and you have something in your hand that could destroy a creature, wait to use it on Cloud, because if your opponent gets multiple turns of this activation, drawing the cards, creating treasure tokens, he gives you cards and then gives you mana to play them. That's ridiculous, guys. And this card is so strong right now. I feel like you need to have mana to destroy Cloud. Just keep that in mind. The first card we have here is Zach Fair, 1 mana, enters the battlefield with the counter on it. You know, remember like what we were talking about earlier. I want creatures on the battlefield to equip equipment to, so that when I play Cloud, I'm immediately attacking. So the fact that Zach costs 1 mana to play means that you get to put him on the battlefield immediately. So yeah, that's always going to be something that's good. And then it says you can pay 1 mana to sacrifice Zach. You can give a creature you can control indestructible. Yeah, you're going to want to do that, because everybody's going to try to destroy Cloud. So fantastic card. Zach is, you actually want more cards like Zach inside this deck. Zach is great. Bugenhagen, Wise Elder. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control creatures power 7 or greater, draw a card. Yeah. Keep this card inside the deck. And if you're playing just green in general, you're gonna want this card inside your deck. I feel like that's a really good card. You might even want to build a commander deck around that. I like that. Sid, Free Flyer Pilot, equipment and vehicle spells. Yeah, just keep that card. Trust me, keep that card inside the deck. Heli Trooper, whenever this creature attacks no target, attacking creature gains flying. Equip abilities you activate that target this creature costs 2 less to activate. Look, a couple things here. When we look at the card, it costs 2 mana. Equip abilities that we activate cost 2 less. So it's the same things that I was saying earlier. We want cheap creatures, so you play this early before you play Cloud, and then you need to equip equipment to it. It costs 2 less. So just so we know, new players, I probably should have went over this earlier. Like, this is an equipment right here. Like, I'm gonna click on this. So when we take a look at equipment, you're gonna see this right here where it says equip 2. That means I have to pay 2 mana to equip this card to a creature. So not only do I have to pay 2 mana to put this card onto the battlefield, I have to pay 2 mana to equip this to a creature. And the reason the other card that we just got done talking about is good is because it lets you pay 2 less. So that card that we just got done talking about cost 2 mana to equip, but because of the Heli Trooper's ability, you pay 0 mana to equip that to this card. Cool. It works. Professional Hojo, actually a very evil character inside. If you can't tell by his art, very evil person inside this game. The first activated ability you activate during your turn that targets a creature you control costs 2 less to activate. Yeah, that's what that card is basically referencing to, is the equip abilities that we just got done talking about. So this acts similarly to this that we just got done talking about. Whenever a creature we control becomes target of an activated ability, we draw a card. Fantastic. That's a great card. The Pure Steel Paladin, yo. Trust me, I'm not even going to go over this card. Just keep this. It's great. Armory Automaton. When this creature enters or attacks, you may attach any number of target equipment to it. Yeah, so like basically everything we've gone over so far is just you not paying costs to equip things. That's always going to be good. Avalanche of Sector 7. Menace. The power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. Interesting. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, Avalanche of 7 deals 1 damage. Dude, bro, I thought that said Avalanche deals 7 damage to that player. I was about to be like, guys, this is the best card of all time, dude. But it's still good. Menace, so your opponents need 2 creatures to block it when it attacks. Yeah, you keep this card inside the deck. It's fun. Bastion Protector, another card that's going to protect your commander. If you have this card in play before you play Cloud, it's going to feel really good. Keep this card inside the deck forever. Elena Turk Recruit. When Elena enters, return target non-assassin historic card from graveyard to your hand. I mean, whenever you cast a historic spell, put a counter on Elena. 3 mana, so it costs less than Cloud. Play it. It's good. Professional Facebreaker. Oh, nice. Whenever one more creatures you control do combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Just keep that card. It's good. Red 13. Vigilance Trample. Other modified creatures. Modified creatures meaning creatures that have equipment attached to them, among other things. Those creatures gain vigilance and trample. Vigilance meaning that as creatures attack, you don't have to tap them, which means that they're still able to block during the next turn. And they have trample, which just is gonna make your opponents do this. It's a good card. We have Vincent the Vengeful Atoner. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, put a counter on Vincent. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be good. So notice how this says though, new players, when it deals combat damage to a player, put a counter on Vincent. So if I have multiple creatures deal damage to one player, it's only going to happen once. So you want to make sure you deal damage to each player individually. That'll have this trigger multiple times. Whenever Vincent deals damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent if Vincent's power is 7 or greater. Wow. Yeah, this card's gonna win you games. That's what that means, basically. Yuffie. Enters, gain control target non-creature artifact. Then you may attach. Yeah, guys, this deck is so good. Aerith, the last ancient. May she rest in peace. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 7 or more life this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. At the beginning of your end step, this happens. I haven't really seen a ton of life gain cards inside the deck up to this point, so unless we have a lot of ways to gain a lot of life, I would take this card out. Barrett Wallace. Whenever Barrett Wallace attacks, it deals damage to the number of equipped creatures you control. Yeah. Dude, this deck is such a no-brainer deck. Whenever equipment you control enters, create a 2/2. Yeah, keep that. We have Kate Sith, Fortune Teller. At the beginning of combat, scry 1 and exile the top card of your library. You may play that card. Yeah, I mean, I would personally take that card out of the deck. Highdigger, Shinra Executive. At the beginning of combat, target creature you control gets +X/+0. I would take this card out of the deck. We have Tifa. Oh, martial artist. Let's go. So whenever one or more creatures you control deal. Oh my god. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deals combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. Yeah, this card wins games, guys. This card feels real, dude. Depending on how this deck puts power onto the battlefield, you may even just want to make Tifa the commander of the deck, because the additional combat step in the command zone is kind of ridiculous. Bronze Guardian. Yeah, I mean, it's going to protect your equipment. It's good. Sephiroth, Fallen Hero. Whenever he attacks, put a cell counter. Each modified creature you control has power 7 tough. Oh my. Yeah, just Tifa is really good friends with Sephiroth inside this deck. These two cards together, if you're playing and you put each of these cards on the battlefield at the same time, there's a really good chance you're going to win. And then we have the Hellkite Tyrant. Deals damage to a player, gain control of all artifacts. This card is just mean. This card makes people go like that. Summon Kujata. This creature deals 3 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Yeah, I would take this card out of the deck. It's cool to have if you want to build an Aeon deck or with the Guardian Forces or a Summon deck, but I would take it out. We'll see. We'll see, Kay. We have Dispatch. Yeah, this is basically 1 mana, exile a creature. Good. Keep. Vandal Blast. Keep. Cloud's Limit Break. Keep. Nature's Lore. Keep. 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 Oh, this card looks good. Ultimate Magic Holy. Permanents you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. If that spell is cast from exile, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. Yeah, this cards like this, new players, like you can pair this. So like if I cast a spell that destroys everything on the battlefield, I can then, as I cast it, cast this on top of that. So only my opponent's things get destroyed. So cards like this, you can use it defensively to help protect your things, and you can use this offensively to ruin your opponent's lives and make them look like this. We have a Clever Concealment. This card works similarly to the card we just got done talking about. Decimate. This card is great. Keep. Harmonize. Good. Unfinished Business. Keep. It's going to get cards out of your graveyard. Austere Command. Great. Lifestream's Blessing. Great. Wow. Ultimate Magic Meteor. Deals 7 damage to each creature. Yeah, so like imagine casting this meteor And then as you cast it, cast the holy spell that we just got done talking about. So that way your opponents can't get destroyed by the meteor. That's a good combo. Vanquish the Horde. Another card that I just said, you combo this with this and it's good. We have Colossus Hammer. Wow, okay. 10-10 and loses flying, but whatever. Explorer Scope, keep. Skull Clamp, keep. Soul Ring, keep. Good. We have the Arcane Signet, keep. Yeah, guys. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, keep that. Yeah, pretty much every single one of these cards over here. I don't, you know, in the future, I'm going to make videos on the channel where we go over a lot of these things specifically so you can see a lot of them. But what I'm noticing from this over here, oh my God, is that these are just cards that are going to give you advantage. They're going to make your creatures stronger so that their power is 7 or greater, like what we saw earlier. You know, there's actually so many cards that are buffing your creature's power that I'm just going to go back to what I was saying earlier. Like Tifa would be a pretty good option to be a commander inside this deck. Tifa would be really good. I mean, I got to play it to see how it feels and how often we can create a creature with power 7 or greater. But man, Tifa is looking good, no pun intended. And then we have Champion's Helm. We have Dark Steel Plate. Yeah, give a creature indestructible. Dude, this deck is serious, bro. Oh, this card looks cool. Summoning Materia. Look at the top card of the library. Anytime, as long as this equipment is attached to a creature, you may cast creatures from the top of your library. Okay. Gives a creature +2/+2 and it taps for mana. Fantastic. The entirety of all of the artifacts inside this deck, everybody, keep them inside the deck. They're all fantastic. What's good, Joel? I'm glad that you're stoked for the Final Fantasy Precon, dude. I think everybody's freaking out, dude. I can't wait to see the Final Fantasy X one in a second over here. We have Furious Rise. I would keep. Looks like your creatures are going to have a high power, so that's going to work out well. Soldier Military Program. Beginning of combat, you create a 1/1 soldier. Guys, this deck right now is, I mean, there's like 3 cards that I said that you might want to take out, but these cards are really good. And if we take a look at the mana base over here, it's pretty much the same thing as the other precons. It's going to be fantastic. A ton of cards that really help you to fix all of your mana. The mana base is always, generally nowadays, is fantastic. You're never going to have a problem casting spells, and that's going to be really important. So I think if you're a new player, this Cloud Precon, if the nuance is going to be you, where it may be difficult is going to be you just knowing this. Like it's this order. Like I said earlier, you want creatures that are not Cloud in play early, equip equipment to them. When you have at least 1 or 2 creatures in play that have equipment attached to them, play Cloud and then start attacking, and everything will just kind of go from there. And just attack people. Never stop attacking. Find, like, literally sit at the table, ask your friends, who should I attack? And then obviously, like, just, you know, do what makes sense, obviously. But I would personally, unless it was advantageous not to, I would just single down one player over and over again, continuously attack the same player until I remove them, and then do the same thing to the next one, and vice versa. You want to do this as quickly as possible because you don't want your opponents to draw into any removal spells to destroy your creatures. But this deck, it's going to be very hard for me to see that the other precons are going to be better than this one. This one is extremely straightforward and gets just right to the point. Would I buy this deck for a beginner? I think that there are precons that would be a bit easier, but I think that, you know, as you begin to become comfortable with the game, it's straightforward enough that you're going to have a lot of fun. And within maybe, I want to say 3 games, And then if you then just look at the cards, read them over again, you'll be just as good as anybody else playing this deck. It's really good. And that's cool because that's Cloud. Cloud is awesome. So the next deck we have, let's go, is the Final Fantasy X Precon. Dude, I love this game. I love this game. So we have Tidus, Yuna's Guardian. For those who don't know about this game is actually like horribly depressing. Basically what happens is we have Yuna, which you'll see in a second, who is the guardian of, who is a summoner. She basically summons these monsters to help fight other monsters. And she has guardians to help protect her while she's on her journey so that she could defeat a giant monster named Sin. And Tidus, it could also say Tidus is Yuna's boyfriend, because they basically fall in love with each other. But the reason why the game is horribly sad is because Yuna at the end of this journey has to sacrifice her life because of the monster she has to summon to defeat the other monster. The cost is her life. So it's this thing where they're all working together to go defeat this beast, and they need to because it's incredibly important, but at the same time they're falling in love, and you know that at some point she's gonna die, and it's very sad. So yeah, that's Final Fantasy X, guys. Go ahead and play the game. So it says at the beginning of your combat, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second creature you control. Okay. And then whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate, meaning you get to create an extra counter. And then you do that once each turn. So whenever one more creature you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Okay, so I don't understand this. So do this only once each turn. Combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. So if I attack multiple players, let's go a big wave. It says whenever one or more creatures you control counters on them deal. I'm just confused because if I deal damage to multiple players, will it still only happen once? And I think that's the point because it says only once each turn. So yeah, we get to draw a card and create an extra token. So that's always going to be it's always going to be good. Generally, like these decks are going to have things like +1/+1 counters to make a creature stronger. We also have something called shield counters, which can keep our creatures alive. We have Walking Ballista. That's an immediate sign that this deck has an infinite combo, which means that if you combo Walking Ballista with another card, generally you just win. So if the combo card does not exist inside here, just be aware, new players, that Walking Ballista is a card that will win you Magic the Gathering games. Find out that combo. If you buy this deck, add that card to the deck, because if you assemble it, you just win the game on the spot. That's it. No questions asked. Very good card. Dusk Cell Crawler. Once creatures enters, put a counter on target creature. Each creature you control with a counter on it has trample. That's good. We have Grateful Apparition. Flying. Yeah, deals damage to a player. Proliferate. Good. Gyre Sage adds a counter as creatures enter sometimes, and then you create a green mana. You tap for a green mana for each counter on it. I love that it's like the Guado character. The Guados are elves, dude. Okay, Guados are elves. We're gonna give that a thumbs up. That's cool. Dude, Guados are elves. This is pretty cool. Incubation Druid. Tap this to add 1 mana of any type. Okay, yeah, keep that card. So far, so good. Lord Jiskel. Oh, at the beginning of each end step, you put a counter on a creature this turn. We investigate. Investigating creates a token that we can pay 2 mana to destroy, which then will allow us to draw a card. Always good. But the thing is, like, we're playing the color blue, so we generally have good ways to draw cards. So I would just take that card out and maybe put it in a deck that was only playing the color white. So personally, I would take that card out of the deck, but that's just me. Owaka, the traveling merchant. You could tap this to remove a counter. Yeah, this is what I mean. This is a lot better than this because I don't have to pay any mana outside of me playing this card to draw a card. This, I have to pay 2 mana to do it, and I may not want to do that. Scholar of New Horizons, remove a counter, search a library. Yeah, keep. It's good. Shalinda, the Yevon Acolyte. Whenever the creature you control enters, put a counter on that creature. If its power is less than Shalinda's power, otherwise put a counter on Shalinda. Yeah, cool. That works. I'm sure she played the game a long time ago, Big Wave. That's fun. We have a Chasm Skulker. Yeah, just keep. Just know that card is good. Gata and Luzu. Cool. Enters, shoots our creature you control. Prevent that much damage and put that many counters on it. Oh, and this has flash speed, I want to say. So if your opponents are going to deal damage to your creatures, you can just have this enter the battlefield immediately and basically save one of your creatures' lives. It's pretty good. Generous Patron. Yeah, just play this card. Lulu, my girlfriend. Whenever an opponent attacks, you choose target creature attacking you. Put a stun counter on them. You can pay 4 mana to proliferate. That's cool. We have Maester Seymour. Oh, this guy is evil. Like, bad, dude. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Maester Seymour's power on another target creature you control. Excellent. And then Monstrosity. Dude, this card is going to be so good in the right deck. Oh my god. This card is going to be so good. Riku. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature until the end of turn, that creature can't be blocked. Yeah. Good. Great. Ixion. Oh, dude. Wow, that's so cool to see. Exile target creature point it controls until the saga leaves the battlefield. You put a counter on each of the 2 target creatures you control. I mean, for 3 mana, 3/3 or first strike, this is the first summon out of all of these decks that I would say keep inside the deck. Tireless Tracker, yeah, keep that card. It's really good. Trommel, Seymour's Butler. This guy is slightly evil too. Each other non-token creature you control enters an additional counter on it. You keep, even though he's evil. Altered Ego. Oh, the Ifrit art on that looks so good, dude. That's so cool. Can't be countered. It's going to enter as a copy of another creature on the battlefield. It's cool. Oren, my dude. This guy, for those who don't know, when you play this game, he's actually not even alive, which is odd. But it's funny. It's cool because look at the card. It says Human Spirit Samurai because he's actually not alive. He's actually dead. Whenever Orin attacks, put a counter on it. When you do, exile target creature defending player controls with power less than. Oh man, dude, that's devastating. Yeah, that's a really good card, and that's basically how Orin behaves in the game too. So excellent. That's so cool, dude. Chocobo Knights. Whenever you attack creatures you control with counters on them, gain double strike. Oh, this card's gonna win you games. And you partner this with Riku, make your creatures unblockable, and then give them double strike with the Chocobos. Come on, bro. That's great. Fathom Mage, yeah, play good. Forgotten Ancient, whenever, yeah, good play. Kimari. Let's go. Kimari, the Ronso. Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Kimari and tap target creature opponent controls. Then you may have Kimari become a copy of... Oh, yeah, that's so funny. Then you may have Kimari become a copy of that creature, except his name is Kimari. Let's go. Dude, Kimari in the game has this ability where you can basically go up to a creature and then you can absorb its essence kind of, and then you basically steal the creature's abilities. So it's funny that Kimari becomes a copy of the creatures because of what happened inside it's literally word for word exactly what happened inside the video game. Very cool. Very cool. Luminous Broodmoth. This card's gonna win games. Whenever creature you control with flying dies, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. Yeah, GG. Whenever this creature with 2+1+ encounter, whenever this creature enters, oh my god, this creature enters with 2 counters on it. When it dies, search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is this creature's power. Yeah, good. Yeah. Yojimbo. Oh, dude, this guy is like the he's like a, what's the word I want to say? Like a bounty hunter. You bring him and then you pay him a certain amount of money, and if you give him the right amount of money, he just one-shot kills whatever you're fighting against. Yojimbo he's also very difficult to find. Like, you don't ordinarily get him inside the game. You have to like go out of your way to basically hire him, you know. Cool. Exile X target artifacts, enchantments. Yeah, look, exile target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature your opponent controls. Yeah, destroys something, which is what he does in the game. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you unless they pay 2. Okay. And then create X treasure tokens where X is the number of opponents. Yeah, so money destroys something, and then the attacking thing, it works because when he's on the game, your opponents can only attack your Jimbo. They wouldn't be attacking your party, which is cool. Waka, let's go, dude. Waka. Oh, this is so cool. Reach, trample. When Waka deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact that player controls. Yeah, amazing. Waka's so cool. Yuna. Oh, dude, let's go. She deserves the zoom in. Yuna's the best. Yuna. So you can tap Yuna to add 1 mana of any color. Amazing. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with 2 counters on it. Great inside this deck. And then whenever another permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may put that number of 1+1 counters on target creature. The art from this card is specifically from a moment inside the game where a town got like obliterated by this giant monster, and she basically did like a giant ceremony where she like had the spirits of all the people that passed away from the tragedy. She had them pass into the next realm, and this is literally an image of the moment when she was doing the ritual. It's actually a very somber and like sad moment, but that's just basically the story of the game. Just that type of game. Yuna, great, good card. I would personally build a Yuna deck just to have a Yuna deck. That's so cool. Summon Mega Sisters. I feel like this is another summon that's pretty difficult to find inside the game as well. Choose 1 at random, put 3 counters on a creature, put a shield counter, and then removal. It's a 5/5 with haste for 5 mana. Yeah, I would keep that inside the deck. I don't feel like that's too horrible. Valifor, the first summon that you get inside the game. Tough, dude. A flying 5/4, 5 mana. Each opponent chooses a creature, returns them to their hands. Okay. He acts like removal. I feel like in a Precon versus Precon battle, this is a cool card. And imagining, because it's a creature, if you get to make copies of this card could feel very like this, very quick. Sunscorch Regent. Whenever opponent casts a spell, put a counter on it, you gain a life. This card always feels good to play when I play Magic. It's just like, it just sits there and is constantly just gaining me life and just, you know, hitting my opponents for a lot of damage. Bane of Progress. Dude. I need to do this right now, though. So Bane of Progress enters. It says destroy all artifacts and enchantments, put a counter on it for each creature destroyed this way. I'm gonna tell you, if you're playing against the Final Fantasy X deck, the Tidus deck, and you're either playing against or as the Cloud deck, I'm gonna tell you right now that this card will one-shot the entirety of the Cloud deck. The Bane of Progress is the Bane of Cloud. This card will completely destroy the Cloud deck. So just keep that in mind. If you're playing the Cloud deck and you're playing against the Tidus deck, take out the player playing the Tidus deck, because this card will ruin. This card will end the game. Just one shot in the game. Very good card. Yes, you do have a Cloud counter. So Sin, dude. Sin is tough, dude. Unending Cataclysm. What a cool name. Flying Trample. As Sin enters, remove all counters from any number of artifact, creatures, and enchantments. Sin enters on a +1/+1 counter on it, where X is twice the number of counters on it. Remove this way. When it dies, put its counters on a target creature you control, then shuffle this card into its owner's library. Interesting. That's devastating. So you still get to keep that. Wow. Sin, dude. I'm just having flashbacks, bro. Like, Sin is no joke, dude. That's such a tough boss fight. Yeah, I'm just mesmerized right now. Good card. I'm a fan. We have an offer you can't refuse. Keep. Cool. Good. Path to Exile. Keep. Good. Destroy evil. Maybe you take out. Farseek. Protection magic. Oh, put a shield counter of the 3 target creatures. This is great. This is great. Then you have Pull from Tomorrow. Inside this deck, I mean, if you're making a lot of mana, cool. The art is awesome. I will give you that. I would take this card out. 3 visits, cool. Collective Effort. Another card that I mean, it puts counters on creatures you control. You know, whatever. Endless Detour. You know, you can delay a spell technically with that card. Dude, this is one of the most cringiest moments in a video game ever. So it's great that they turned it into a card. Keep it. Yuna's Whistle. Reveal cards on top of your library until you reveal a creature. Yeah, keep that card. It's good. Yuna's Decision. Yeah, I mean, this is like the moment where they finally, like, they basically made out here, you know. It's basically what happened. But then that's when they also realized, or I think Tidus realized, that Yuna was gonna die. Damning Verdict. This is a pretty powerful moment inside the game too. It's a good card. Keep that card. Promise of Loyalty. That's a very somber image right there. Keep. Farewell. Wow. Read the flavor. Dude, I just got goosebumps reading the flavor art. It says, stay with me until the end, please. I'm telling you, this game is so devastating, dude. Man, I was a kid. This was horrible for my emotions. We have Ever-Flowing Chalice. Great. Keep. Blitzball Stadium. Awesome. It says when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card for each kind of counter on it. Yeah. Great. I'm glad that Blitzball Stadium is a good card. A Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, great. Hardened Scales, keep. Sphere Grid, yeah, keep. That's gonna be good. Summoner's Sending. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. The sending is the same exact thing. This image is the same image as, let's see if you guys can see that. Where's Yuna? This image, like I was talking about the sending earlier, is the same exact thing that's happening over here. Beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature card from a graveyard. If you do, create a 1/1 spirit. Yeah, keep. Good. Together forever. Oh, see, I told you. I told you I was telling you they're making out or something. Together forever. Yeah, you keep that card. It's a good card. Bred for the hunt, deals damage, draw cards. Dude, this deck is really good, guys. Fight rigging. Yeah, keep. Resourceful defense. Keep. Path to discovery. Keep. Inexorable tide. Cast a spell, proliferate. This card basically says win the game. Great card. Ash Barrens, cool. Forest, Forge of Heroes. Yeah, a lot of lands that tap for multiple colors, which means that you're always going to be able to play your cards, and that's always a good thing. I'm trying to look to see if I can find a land that gives you proliferate, and I don't, which is, you know, not the worst thing, but it could be better. But hey, when you have all the colors in the world, that's always going to be a positive thing. Excellent mana base, excellent deck. The flavor, like, this perfectly encapsulates Final Fantasy X. You can tell that a lot of people that played the game know about this. They know what they're doing, basically. Remember that Lulu is my girlfriend. This is Lulu. Just say hi to my girlfriend, everybody. It's Lulu. She's a little crazy, but it's okay. And yeah, if you're a new player, if you enjoy the game, obviously pick up this deck. I will say though that this deck is going to be a bit more confusing than other decks. If you just want to have an experience playing the game to learn, I would say avoid buying this deck and buy it when you have more knowledge for the game, if you want to have fun immediately, because there is going to be a bit of a learning curve when you're playing this deck. So just keep that in mind. It's not very beginner friendly in my opinion, but for the flavor of it, for what it is, it's excellent, dude. I mean, if you already know. And then the final deck, Scions and Spellcraft Final Fantasy. I believe this is Final Fantasy 14, a game that I have not played, so I cannot go into deep detail for it. But I know that this commander is ridiculous. I know that for a fact. So, Y'shtola, Knight Blessed. This cat reads, at the beginning of each end step, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, you draw a card. That is insane. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, Y'shtola deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. So immediately right off the bat, this is the most ridiculous commander. Out of all of these commanders, this is the craziest. Because if you're able to assemble an infinite combo where you're constantly casting non-creature spells with mana value 3 or greater, this portion right here, new players, this says you win the game. You just win. This card is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous, bro. Maybe I will try Final Fantasy 14 at some point. Who knows? I don't mind. I mean, if I have people to play the game with, I wouldn't mind playing the game. So immediately off of the bat, I'm going to tell everybody this is the best. Just based off of this over here, this is the best Precon out of all. Well, that Cloud one's pretty good, but this is ridiculous. To have an infinite combo enabled commander like this has like competitive, like the highest level of Magic the Gathering type potential. This is a very good card. Baleful Strix draws you a card, enters, keep. Hildebrand Manderville. Creature tokens you can check, get +1/+1. It is a spell that you can cast that's 3 or greater on the adventure side, and it's a creature. I wonder if there's a lot of adventures inside this deck. Interesting, but I think we keep. You know, you're gonna create a 2/2 zombie, but like you also dealing damage at the same time, so it's not that bad. The hypnotic sprite counter spell. Yeah, there are a lot of adventures inside here. Counter spell, remembering that every single time we cast a non-creature spell, we're also getting our ability here with Y'shtola. If I'm pronouncing Y'shtola correctly, let me know in the comments or over here in chat, because I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Chat, I have no idea. We have Krill Baldecion. I'm doing my best. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may return target creature card with mana value equal to that spell's mana value from graveyard to your hand. Do this only once each turn. You're gonna be doing that anyway, so you might as well get cards out of your graveyard. Whoa, the art on these cards is kind of wild. Bro, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this card deals 1 damage to each creature, each opponent. 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. Excellent. We have Tataru Taru. When Tataru Taru enters, you draw a card, and target opponent may draw a card. Okay. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if it isn't that player's turn, create a tap treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Dude, drawing cards and treasures for 2 mana. Good. You know, I might even want to play this as a commander for 2 mana. That's pretty cool. Urianger, Augur Relt. Dude, the names inside this game is something else, dude. When you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, you gain 2 life. You know, I'm not sure how often we're going to be. Well, we have a lot of adventure creatures, so this may actually be pretty relevant. You can tap this, look at the top card of your library. You may exile. Oh, you may exile it face down. Yeah, keep it. You know, it's going to help you cast spells. It's pretty good. Whoa, this card looks really intense. Dude, that would be such a cool tattoo. Ali Say. I'm not even going to say that. Partner. So it's a partner commander, first strike. The second spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. What? Dude, this card is ridiculous. So if I cast this as my first spell during that turn, any 2 mana rock that I have, I can just play for free. That's ridiculous. What a, and it's a legendary creature, so you could play this as your commander. Excellent card. Excellent card. Ardbert, Warrior of Darkness. Whenever you cast a white spell, yeah, anything that says whenever you cast is just fantastic. I don't even have to read the rest of the notes. It's gonna be a good card. Keep it. The Scion Graha Tia, Scion Reborn, lifelink. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay X life, where X is that spell's mana value. If you do create a 1/1 colors creature token and put X multiple counters on it. Good. Lease Hexed. Oh, thanks for letting me know, Joel. Prowess, non-creature spells you cast called 1 less to cast. Yeah, excellent. This deck is fantastic, guys. Murderous Rider. Yeah, keep. Destroys things. Alphanod, Lavalier. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, draw a card. What? That's really good. Archmage Emeritus. Yeah, excellent. I know this guy is the bad guy inside the game. I know that. Emmett Selch of the Third Seat. Spells you cast from your graveyard cards cost 2 less to cast. From what I'm aware inside this game, this guy is a part of a group of people that were attempting to do something, and then they failed, but they were attempting to do something that was good for people and it never worked. So he went back into the future to try to do that. But now what he's trying to do that was good in the past is now bad for the people that are good in the future. So he's trying to force people into doing it anyway. And now he's bad, but technically, like from a certain perspective, he's good. So it creates this awkward problem. And apparently he's a really good villain. Because people can understand his motives. Spells you cast from graveyard cost 2 less to cast. I'm not sure how many cards we're going to be casting from our graveyard. Whenever one or more opponents lose his life, you may cast you may cast any instant or sorcery from a graveyard. If that spell was put into your graveyard this way, exile it instead. Do it only once each turn. Great. Fantastic. This is Estinin dude, the names. Varlino. When you cast a non-creature spell, excellent. Put a counter on this card, it gains flying. You know, this deck is excellent, man. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, excellent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this deck is going to feel so... New players, I'm going to tell you right now, this deck is a deck that you buy and you lose horribly often when you play in the beginning because you're just learning how to play. But at some point, years down the road, this is a deck that you rarely play because it's so powerful. That's what this deck is right now. This is a deck that you buy and becomes the most powerful deck in your entire collection. This is the deck when everybody's like, I'm playing to win right now and I want to play a really competitive game. This is the deck that you bring out, just so you know, because it's really intense. Excellent card over here. So it says Rhaegalselver of the First Blood, flying, vigilance, ward 2. When it enters and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it keeps saying the same thing. Target creature gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. Me, hiccup there. So summon Good King Mog. Create 2 tokens. When you cast a non-creature spell, create a token that's a copy of a target non-saga token you control. This might be the first card that I say you might want to take out of the deck. I would just grab all of the summons and just build a deck with all the summons. That's what I would do. Thancred Waiters. That's like the most normal name I've read in my entire life. Flash. When this enters, target legendary permanent you control gains indestructible for as long as you control this card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this card gains indestructible until the end of turn. Fantastic card, guys. This card is so good, man. The Torrential Gear Hulk, when it enters, you can cast an instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Just everything about this deck, guys, screams excellence. Sword to Plowshares, great. Exsanguinate. This card, oh my god. Wow. This card, you just put any amount of mana into it, and then each opponent's going to lose that much life. This card basically reads, you win the game. Save this card for later on in the game. You will win a ton of games because of this card. Cut a Deal, cool. Lingering Souls. I mean, you could probably take this out and just play a card that's going to draw you only cards, because you're playing the color blue, and that's just, I mean, it's a nice card to have in your collection though if you're building a white deck. Lingering Souls, cool. Transpose, draw a card and discard a card. You create a token, cool. Vindicate, cool. Void Rend, cool. Circle of Power, great. Lethal Scheme, Rite of Application is going to win you a lot of games. You basically cast this spell on a card or creature that says whenever you cast something, you make 5 copies of that creature, and then you're able to just cast a spell and get 5 triggers, which would just be insanity. Snuff Out, cool. That's a free spell. That's cool. Siphon Mind, ooh, that's devastating. If you had a lot of discard inside this deck, it could be really really mean. This deck could make people go like this if you add a lot of cards like that. Cleansing Nova, cool. Crux of Fate, cool. Final Judgment, cool. Sublime Epiphany, excellent. Counterspell, you can do a lot with this card. Into the Story, it could cost less, cool. Dig Through Time, all right. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the Planisphere. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, yeah, the moment we read that, it's just GG. Sage's Newliths. Whenever this creature attacks, untap target attacking creature. Okay, so I mean, personally, I don't know. I feel like you might want to play this card in a deck where we're tapping a lot of creatures. I'm not sure how many creatures we're tapping inside this deck, but you know, it is a good card, I will say. Talisman of Dominance, keep. Archaeomancer's Map, keep. Blue Mage's Cane. Whenever this creature attacks, exile up to one target instant or sorcery card from defending player's graveyard. If you do, copy it. You may cast the copy by paying 3 rather than paying its mana cost. Excellent. It would be cool if you didn't have to pay any extra mana for that, but whatever. Relic of Legends, cool. Dancers, Chakrams. Commanders you control get +2/+2, and as a performer in addition to its other types. I would take that card out of the deck. That's just me though. White Aura Sight, when it enters, exile target non permanent opponent controls until this artifact leaves the battlefield. That's pretty cool, and it can tap for mana. That's annoying. A Coveted Jewel. Yeah, this card they add this card a lot. I would take this card out of the deck. Authority of the Consuls, a card that's gonna make people go like this. Cool, keep it. Champions from Beyond. When this enters, create XX colorless hero creature tokens. There's a lot of hero tokens inside this deck. Whenever you tackle 4 more creatures, scry 2. I'm not sure. I mean, this deck does seem like it's going to go pretty wide. Like, you're going to have a lot of creatures in the battlefield. So something like this should work technically well. Bastion of Remembrance. Yeah, keep. The Eye of Nidhogg. Dude, Nidhogg is a fun indie game where you have 2 dudes with like fencing swords and you just fight each other. Listen to Nidhogg is a game where you're 2 stick figure dudes fighting on a 2D screen where you have to run past each other, and when you run past each other, if you get to the end, the first person to jump off the edge into the air gets eaten by a flying giant worm. That's what Nidhogg is. Just so you're aware. It's a great game. And it is not propaganda. I think propaganda, you might take propaganda out of this deck just because you could play something else that seems better. The Eye of Nidhogg, though, it gives, it goads an opponent's creatures. It's an enchantment. I mean, it's not a bad card. I think it's good. I just think it might be better off in a deck. Yeah. K's played Nidhogg. Somebody in the chat has played Nidhogg. He knows how ridiculous that game is. It's so much fun. Observed Stasis. There's a lot of enchantments and stuff like that. Well, they're non-creatures technically, so it works. Yeah, this deck is fantastic, dude. Arcane Sanctum, Ash Barrens, the mana base looks great. It looks like it's just like the other precons. You know, you have all the colors you're gonna need so that you never don't have the colors you need, so that you're constantly playing the game of Magic the Gathering because you are able to get all the colors in play, because these are 3-color decks. So like I said earlier, this deck is a deck that's going to be for players that are I don't think this deck is going to be good at all for for a player that's brand new. I think that if you buy this with the anticipation that like I said earlier, this is going to be the deck that is the most powerful deck inside your collection when you want to win a game as you grow in skill. This is going to be a deck that you pull out and everybody's going to be like, like really, bro, you're playing Y'shtola, dude. And you're just going to grin, or you're going to sit there like you're going to be like that the entire time, dude. It's going to be tough. It's going to feel good. But it's a great card, or a great deck. I mean, Reaper's Scythe. I don't think I looked at this earlier. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's all of the precons over here that we had reviewed. Keep in mind that I ordered them a long time ago. So when I get them here, I'm going to be creating guides that are more like specific to the individual cards inside the deck, so you can see how they synergize. So if you want to see that, you guys can subscribe to the channel, like this video if you're not already subscribed and liking this video. And yeah, you guys can see that. And if we do have the 1v1 commander series, the boss battle series on the channel right now. So if you want to play a 1v1 game against me in our boss battle series, we do have that. You can join the Discord for that. And then I'm going to be setting up channel memberships over here as well at a 99-cent mark, just so that any extra amount, if you guys want to help support the channel, you can, because that money that I get from this channel every month, because the channel is monetized, I use to buy the precons and do other things to make the channel and the stream look good, like with the camera that I have over here, and things just so that we can continue to up the quality of everything we do on this channel. Okay. So in the future, if you guys enjoy these live streams, I do have my Twitch link down below. I do go live on Twitch playing video games sometimes, playing like Overwatch or Street Fighter, or I think I'm going to be starting a playthrough The Last of Us as well. So that's going to be over there. And that's going to be that. So that's going to be the end of today's video. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Okay. Always remember, everybody, eat healthy. Okay, work out every single day. Most important, you guys got to remember to believe in yourself. All right, peace out.